guys, welcome back to Mom and Guap Vegan. So today we're just going to get into things about my natural birth, how I came to this conclusion, what things I want to happen, what things I don't want to happen, what made me choose a natural at home birth over a hospital birth. Just everything that people have been asking and wondering about, I'm going to cover in this video. So first we're going to get into what exactly type of birth am I having. I'm having a natural water birth, lotus birth, at home birth. I know, mouthful, but that's literally everything I want to do. So natural birth. Don't want any medications. I plan to just let my body do its own thing. I don't really want anything to help with the pain. If I do have any pain, I kind of just want to go through each step of birth naturally. I want to remember everything. I'm actually going to have my sister filming as well, so I'm going to have like a birth journey video as well. I don't think I'm going to share that on YouTube. However, that is just something I want for my own keepsake, since this will be my first child, first experience. I just want to be able to remember everything, and if I'm not in the mindset to actually remember everything that's going on, because my memory has been a little bad during pregnancy, I'll have something to reference later on. So yes, natural pregnancy, that's kind of why I wanted to have my natural birth. I'm vegan, so that was also a thing. Like, I'm very into like holistic living and just having a more natural, simplistic lifestyle in general. That's something that I practice, so I figured my birth experience should be in the same category as the rest of my life. So yes, lotus birth. So a lotus birth is when you leave the umbilical cord attached to the baby and the placenta to allow the placenta's nutrients to go into the baby naturally, without any like interruptions as far as like cord clamping, which typically happens when you go to the hospital, where they cut off the cord as soon as like the baby is born, things of that nature. Like, there's delayed cord clamping if you do still want the baby to receive some extra nutrients once they're outside of the womb. But I just want to allow things to just happen 100% natural, so I'll just have it so the placenta will be wrapped up, the herbs will be put in to like start drying out the herbs, to start drying out the placenta, and then the cord will actually naturally fall off. So I basically just want the body to do what it naturally does during the natural birth. I want the placenta to fall off naturally, let the placenta do what it does naturally. Lotus birth. If you're not noticing the pattern here, I kind of just want everything to be how it should be done and without any extra interference. So that's also why I chose to have a midwife. She's a hands-off person. She'll of course like suggest her things, and if you truly need something, she'll advise you accordingly, but she's not like one of those pushy people. She won't push any ideas on you. She listens to your concerns, she'll answer them, and she's really just a hands-off, hey, if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do, but I'll advise you towards what should be the proper decision, what is the correct decision, things of that nature. So that's what I really liked. I really wanted to have control in my birth, because that's why I didn't choose a hospital birth. I was doing my research, a lot of women were saying their requests weren't met. They were put out of the hospital sooner than what they felt they should have been. And if I have a home birth, I can get put out of my own house. I'm in the comfort of my own home. I can control the temperature. I control who comes in. I control who's actually in my birth. When you're at the hospital, especially people who I know who have had epidurals and things of that nature, they're normally not here mentally. They're focused and in tune with their birth. So sometimes they may let people into the birthing experience as a whole that they may not have wanted there. But of course, like, you're not in the right mindset to be like, hey, I don't want that person here, because you're focused on getting the baby out healthy, and making sure that you are also healthy while you're going through this experience as a whole. So I knew that if I'm in my house, I'd say who I want here. That's just how it'll be, and no one can overrule like what I say. So that's why I chose the home birth, natural birth, lotus birth, and then we'll get into water birth. So I was doing like my research, and I kept seeing like a little blue pool thing. Then I would see like people like in their own bathtub. Where we're at now, the bathtub isn't circular, and I don't think I would really be able to stretch out enough to be able to birth in the position I'm thinking I'm going to birth in. Of course, I'm saying thinking and planning, because of course the baby, like, whatever the baby wants to do, the baby will do. So the plan is to birth in the birthing pool, at least labor in the birthing pool, because water seems to calm me. I really enjoy baths, and I really enjoy like the hot tub, and just being in water in general. But of course, like, I avoided the hot tub being pregnant, duh. But I just love being in water in general, so I figured that the water would help during the birthing experience as well. So it kind of helps that I'm in tune with myself, knowing what I like and don't like, so that I knew like how I wanted my birthing experience to go. But yeah, so going to have like the little blue tub that you normally see in people's Instagram videos that do like home births, probably in like a little kneeling position. That's how I'm kind of seeing things happening. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'm gonna have my sister film and everything else. Probably won't share that on YouTube, but I want to be able to document that experience for myself, since this is my first child. I kind of just want that experience to just be documented for memories and a keepsake. But I decided that because I know what I like, and then also I've just seen a lot of good results when people have had like the water like calming them and just like easing their pain. I also plan to do like hypnobirthing, so I'll get into that briefly. Hypnobabies.com or .org. I'll link it in the description box. I'm not exactly sure if it's .org or .com. And with that being said, I went to the website, did my research. My midwife was like, hey, do you want to do like hypnobirthing? What type of birthing technique do you want to like follow? What type of classes do you want to take? Because it's getting to that point where we're getting near the end of the pregnancy, so now we can truly start like taking the classes and things of that nature. So it'll be fresh in my mind and also in Leon's mind while we're approaching the end of the pregnancy. So I decided I wanted to do hypnobirthing. I was very big on like meditating, being in a relaxed state of mind and things of that nature prior to pregnancy. So I figured I would just stick to the same pattern. I know myself, I know what I like. Hypnobirthing, I actually tried like a class the other day, and when I tell you I got into such a relaxed state of mind, I really fell asleep. It was like I hypnotized myself to go to sleep. It was like the greatest sleep that I had this week thus far. Like, it was so great. Probably within like the past week, the best sleep that I've had. It was really, really good sleep. I woke up confused. I was like, wait, was I listening to the Hypnobabies course? But yeah, it was a free course, so I'm really sold on the idea. And I texted my midwife like, hey, I really like the course. This is going to be great. I'm looking forward to the Hypnobabies course, and I'll be doing it with a few other moms. She's getting together a group who wants to participate. We're like, I think she said we're like 4 weeks apart. That way, I had my birth, then the next woman has their birth, and they have their birth, and you know, so on and so forth. So they're not too closely looped together that she has to miss a birth or things of that nature. She plans accordingly. So yeah, I'll be doing that work. I'll be doing that class. So I'm looking forward to that. I think I covered everything that I wanted to cover as it pertains to like the water birth and things of that nature. So I know you all are probably thinking like, what are the costs for my provider? What is the cost for like the birthing pool, or is that an extra cost, things of that nature? So I'll jump into that in a second. So what is the cost of my midwife? For my midwife personally, it's $5,200, 5200. And yeah, I know a lot of people are going to react like, oh my goodness, that's a lot. But you have to look at it as when you put together your plan and you plan your pregnancy, you kind of start to prepare financially for things that will come up in other things that you may need to prepare for financially, mentally, spiritually. It's a process within itself. So I kind of had already prepared financially for the cost. And of course, I'm not doing it by myself. So you can like receive support from like your spouse, you can receive support from your family, or if you do have to go the hospital route due to like finance and things of that nature, you should also like talk with the midwife that you want to do your birth, deliver your baby, see what type of financial plans they have. My midwife has a financial plan, well, payment plan, so that you can pay off however often you need to. If you need to circulate around your pay periods, circulate around like if you get paid bi-weekly, weekly, twice monthly, if you get paid more. So sometimes twice monthly is like an 88-hour pay period, sometimes a little bit more than 88 hours. So you're getting paid at a higher rate, even though you're kind of waiting a little bit longer, if that makes sense. You can structure it however you need to structure it. It's not like tied, you have to pay every month on the first, like rent and everything else is due. You structure how you need to structure it to make things work for you. And if you need like a subsidized or like a discounted rate, that's normally a conversation that you have within your first like consultation with your midwife, or at least that was my experience. I assume most midwives work off the same like type of scale as far as during your first consultation. You talk about like finance and things of that nature. Get into like when you would be able to make your decision so they can book their clients accordingly. Like I was stating how she has a client, I'm the client that's due October 26th, and then there's a client that's due like sometime in November, and then of course like so on and so forth, so that way she can structure it accordingly, just in case a birth happens earlier, she's not missing anyone's birth or anything like that. So yeah, then to get back into the finances, they send a super bill to your insurance company, and what that means is they send like everything overall after you've paid the $5,200 or whatever your cost is going to be. Each midwife has their own different price. That's just the cost of my midwife in the DMV area where I'm located at. Different areas have cheaper prices, some areas may have higher prices. It just depends on what you conduct your research. I'll also hop into how I conducted my research as well, so that people can have somewhere of a reference point to go to, since I know like it's a new experience for most people. Even if you're getting into this for your second or third, fourth, fifth, whatever number your child you're on, it could be a new experience if you've birthed all of your other children in a hospital. This is probably just completely new information, so I'll be able to get into that in a second. So the super bill is everything billed together after you've paid your fees in total, and then whatever plan that you have with your provider, you'll be reimbursed more than likely whatever percentage that you have within your policy. That's why it's kind of important to know and like have this discussion with your provider prior to planning to get pregnant, or once you realize that you are pregnant earlier on, so then that way you can prepare financially for the birth of your child. I will get into the next segment, which will be how did I find my midwife, and how did I decide I didn't want to have a doula, or if I decided I wouldn't have a doula. Y'all haven't heard me talk about a doula this whole time, so the answer is I do not have a doula, just my midwife. She actually has a village of people, and I'm literally meaning a village, like that's what she calls like her work group, a village. So she has a lactation consultant, or a few lactation consultants, plural. She has some doulas that works for her or works with her, since they are like a family. She has people who do like classes. She has the like mommies meetup team. She literally has a village of people who specialize in each segment or whatever you would want. She has a placenta encapsulationist, which people, if you don't know what that is, basically after the placenta dries out and everything else, so if you're doing a lotus birth or whatever, you dry the placenta out, you basically like put it in like a blender, you like grind it up, make it into like pills, you know, like how you have capsules. So it's literally encapsulating, literally putting the placenta grounded up powder into capsules to consume to replenish those necessary nutrients that you lost during childbirth. She actually has a placenta encapsulationist and everyone else, so I didn't feel the need to seek an outside doula. But how I actually found my midwife, I did my research, midwives in the area, the cost was on the website at the time. I don't think the cost is on the website anymore. But I just researched in the area, like who were the midwives in the area. It wasn't a lot in the DMV area, surprisingly. It's a wide surface area, but not that many providers, because I guess home births and things of that nature aren't as popular in this area. Some areas they're more popular, some areas they aren't as popular. I happen to be in an area where they're not as popular, so that's how we got there. But it's okay because I found my midwife. But yeah, so I conducted interviews. Like I reached out like, hey, I'm such and such amount of time pregnant, but it is pretty early on, so I don't remember the exact numbers. But I just I like set up everything, told them how far along I was, booked my conversations after work, and I took thorough notes, discussed things with my boyfriend. Hey, I wasn't really feeling this person. Hey, I kind of like this person, but I still want to do interviews. And I liked every midwife that I spoke to. I actually was going to go with one, but then I was like, let me speak to each one to see who offers whatever I feel that fits my needs the most. So I ended up choosing my midwife. She's a Black woman like myself, so that was one thing that we could bond upon. She's been vegan since 2004. I've been vegan since 2017, so we can bond off of our dietary consumption. And then I also felt that was necessary to have someone who was also vegan, because then that way they wouldn't be trying to force things onto me because they don't have the necessary nutritional knowledge, or they don't practice the same things. Sometimes people can have conflicting views because they don't eat the same things, they don't practice the same things. She also has a list of like holistic providers for when I do have my daughter. So that was also important to me, that someone actually cares about my opinion and actually practices the same things that I practice, that we can really like bond on a different level of just client and provider. We actually have a actual bond, so I really will feel comfortable when I'm actually going through labor and the birthing experience in a whole. I felt that was very important. I didn't know how important that was prior. It's kind of something that you figure out as you like get to know yourself during pregnancy, get to know your provider, and you do your research. But yeah, I had the conversations, we bonded a lot. I found out those things, her being vegan, the holistic practitioner list, things of that nature, and just literally anything that I had questions about, she answers them. She's very hands-on she's very hands-on as much as I need her to be, but she's very hands-off as much as I need her to be as well. So I kind of really enjoyed that as well throughout this whole process, because that was the main reason I didn't go with the hospital birth. They're normally very hands-on. They normally don't really listen to your requests. Not saying all hospitals are like that, but when I was doing my research, a lot of people didn't have a lot of positive experiences in comparison to home birth, where you have the most freedom, you have the most hierarchy. Like, there isn't anyone trying to tell you what to do or how to go about things. So we'll go into the next segment. I found her, did the whole interview process, chose the midwife, then we booked the next consultation, paid our deposit, which was $1,000. Like I said, each midwife is different, but we had our consultation, we had like our whole visit, did like the weight, did blood pressure, I think I did like temperature. Don't remember exactly everything that went through that we did, but we had like a whole conversation. How is work going? How's your mental capacity? As she likes to call it, whole person conversations, or just like checking in on your mental, physical, spiritual health overall. So she's really like I think she's certified as a family therapist, so has that background as well. So it's just a lot of things that were on my list of who I wanted to be my provider that she hit. So that's why I ended up going with her. I believe that's all that I wanted to cover in this video. That was a lot, I know, but I kind of just wanted to make sure I wanted to make sure I covered everything, and that's how I chose my midwife. I don't regret anything. I believe I want to have all of my kids be a midwife, but we'll of course like look into like different options when it comes time to have baby number 2, baby number 3, whatever we end up doing. But so far I've really been loving the experience. I love the midwife experience. Yes, it's kind of pricey, but like I said, when you choose to plan, you have to plan financially as well. You have to cover all aspects. You have to see what would be the best for you, what would give you the most freedom, if that's something that's important to you, the most peace of mind, like literally all positive things that I can say about this experience. The biggest downfall, air quotes, is the finance side. But I mean, you can do they send a super bill to your insurance. You typically get reimbursed, whatever portion you get reimbursed, and whatever you don't really get reimbursed, you just kind of have to take it as, this is why I did this, and it's not really the focus on a financial gain or financial loss, because I don't really see it as a loss, but some people may. But yeah, that's the end of the video. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can definitely leave them below in the comment section.